What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Faith Based Outdoors. Today's going to be another faith-inspired video. I apologize in advance for the lighting. Our power is out, but that's not going to stop me from making this video. So today I want to talk about how to build your faith as a Christian. So a couple years ago when I was in college, I was given a prompt to create a how-to essay. So for my how-to essay, I chose to write about how to build your faith as a Christian. So today's going to be more of a scripted video. I'm pretty much just going to read that essay, so it's going to be in academic language, so don't let that confuse you or throw you off, but I'm pretty much just going to read this essay, and I pray and hope that whether you're a new convert to Christianity or you're someone who feels stagnant in their faith journey, that you get something out of this. So with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and start reading. How to build your faith as a Christian. Many Christians nowadays wonder how to build and strengthen their faith. As a Christian myself, I am familiar with the steps that need to be taken in order to do so. There are multiple ways in which someone can build their faith. For me, I have found that there are 3 actions that are absolutely necessary in order for someone to build and strengthen their faith. The actions are as follows: read the Bible, constantly pray, and the third one is a 2-in-1, which is to go to church and surround yourself with other believers. In order to begin building your faith, a believer must first begin to read the Bible. As it says in the Bible in 2 Timothy 3:16, all scripture is God-breathed and is useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness. The phrase God-breathed means that all scripture is directly from God. This sets the foundation for a Christian believer. Through Scripture, a Christian can come to an understanding of the gospel, how to be saved, and how to live a more righteous and God-glorifying life. Additionally, through reading Scripture daily, you are constantly filling your mind with God's words. This influences the way you think after repeatedly doing this for a given period of time. If you take it seriously, you can begin to think and see things as God sees them through the renewing of your mind. Furthermore, reading the Bible can allow God to speak directly to you, which in turn would strengthen your faith. Personally, I've had this happen a number of times before. I recall a season of my life in which I was working a manual labor job full-time and being extremely unsatisfied with where I was at in life. After a couple weeks into working the job, I remember reading my Bible and reading a passage in which God spoke directly to me. It was an added-on blurb expounding on the story of Elisha and Naaman. To do a quick overview, Naaman wanted to cure his leprosy and was told that in order to do so, he must dip into the Jordan River, 7 times. This seemed foolish to him, so he did not do it. He thought that he was above that. The blurb explained how sometimes in life God humbles us to make sure that we are willing to do anything for Him. This spoke directly to my heart. I was in absolute awe and knew that in that moment God spoke directly to me. Of course, in turn, this experience strengthened my faith because I knew God can and will speak directly to me if I am open to it, which I am by reading the Bible. To use this step to build your faith, my personal recommendation would be to start reading at least a chapter a day and begin in the New Testament, which starts with the book of Matthew. The first 4 chapters of the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are what are referred to as the Gospels. This is the time period in which Jesus was on the earth. These books set the foundation of faith in Christianity to build from. Additionally, constantly praying will certainly help to build your faith as a Christian. In 1 Thessalonians 5:16, it states, "Pray without ceasing." In this verse, Paul is telling us believers to constantly be in prayer. This is key to our faith. Through prayer, we are in direct conversation and relationship with Jesus. We can tell Him our thoughts, thank Him for His blessings, and ask for things. This does not mean that God is some type of wishing well, but we are to know as believers that we can ask for things in prayer, and if we believe in our heart that we will get them, we will receive them. This can be super powerful. When those prayers are answered in which we have asked for something and receive it, it is truly amazing how much it can impact our faith. It makes it unbreakable when we experience the greatness and goodness of God right before our eyes. Many times I have had prayers answered. Sometimes I have even had them answered nearly right away. For example, fairly recently I went bow hunting for turkeys. This is quite the task to accomplish, and the difficulty was even more amplified because I was using a recurve bow, which means I was using an old school Native American style bow with no sights. Long story short, I put a well-placed shot on a big gobbler. However, I could not find him in the thick brush. After making multiple trips and coming up empty-handed, my dad and I took a moment to pray and asked the Lord to help us find the bird because we really did not want to leave it behind knowing that I made a good shot on him. As soon as we finished our prayer, we practically looked up and found the bird right on the outside of a big palmetto patch. It was truly amazing to see a prayer answered almost immediately, and my dad and I even talked about how no one could try to tell either of us that God is not real because we have had too many prayers answered and too many amazing experiences from the Lord to ever lose faith. Over time, prayer can create the most amazing experiences in which your faith gets built to a level where it is basically unable to be broken. So quick pause in the story. If you ever wondered where this bird specifically came from, the one with the recurve arrow across it, that is the story of where that bird came from. Anyway, back to the essay. Furthermore, surrounding yourself with other believers and going to church can help to build your faith as a Christian. Even outside of the church, it is known that the people a person surrounds themselves with have a humongous impact on them and their character. In 1 Corinthians 15:33, it states, "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character." It is true that people are usually going to be a product of their environment. That said, if you are constantly surrounding yourself with other believers and going to church, it is going to help you to grow your own faith. Believers can also counsel one another and help each other. I know for me personally that when I'm hanging out with other believers, we are always trying to help each other grow in our faith, and we have good discussions which lead to a better understanding of our own faith. It can also serve as a motivator for yourself and the people around you. When a Christian is strong in their faith and convictions, people around them can tell. From my own experience, this motivates surrounding Christians who may not be as strong in their faith to get to a level in which the person of stronger faith is at. This creates a group of believers who seek relationship with not only Jesus, but with one another, and help each other to all grow in their own faiths. Building and strengthening your faith is simple, but that does not mean that it is easy. It certainly takes work and effort. There are multiple ways in which to do so, yet I have found reading the Bible, praying without ceasing, going to church, and surrounding yourself with other believers to be the most crucial ways. As a simple 3-step process, anyone can take this advice and begin their own journey to building their faith in Jesus and living as a devout Christian. So once again, I pray that whether you're a new convert to Christianity or someone who might feel stagnant in their faith journey, that you get something out of this and that you can take some of those principles and act upon them. So yeah, once again, I just hope this benefits anyone that watches, and that's it.